You are listening to a Dynamic Works Productions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. Welcome to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tim K. Trotter, slotted lubricated. And joining me today is my boy, Adam Burgess.
What up?
And my buddy from all the way across the other side of the fucking country, Damian Newman.
Yo, what's happening?
Alrighty, kids. We're doing some fucking lightning round shit because we're talking about some of that E3 goodness, despite the fact that this might possibly be episode 3, despite the fact that the other 2 episodes haven't come out yet. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I tell you what, sons.
A wee bit behind.
It's
so big.
So behind. So let's break it down by the big 3 conferences. Let's hit it up that way. Yeah. Dan? All right. So Microsoft rolls in E3 2016. I'm sorry, kids, if you don't know shit about gaming, better back the fuck out and check out the next podcast that's not as fucking gaming centric. Yeah, what did they do? They rolled in. They were just like, all right. Microsoft was just like, yo, we've heard all the criticisms about all of our E3s and being like showy and always having fucking celebrities announce this and that, and Elijah Wood and Vin Diesel and Bill Gates and doing all this stupid shit. And it's like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to march out somebody from the company. They're going to say a bit about their game. We're going to show you some fucking bitching gameplay footage, some live stuff. And then we're going to close out our shit by announcing, like, the future of fucking Xbox. What's up, son?
I will say this, though. The reason I even got my first Xbox was because of Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh, for
really?
Real, dog?
So
That's awesome.
Vin Diesel
Chronicles of Riddick is the
definitely played
shit.
a good role in that.
You know?
Hell of a game.
That game is so ahead of its time. I mean, think about
Hell
it. Like,
of a game.
all of the tenets in that game, from the stealth to the sort of vaguely open world to the dialogue tree to, like, even the shooting and the sort of world building, like, it was ahead of its time. I mean,
even how you got your health bar like longer.
Yeah,
dope. You had to
man.
find those. You had to find those med stations.
And the night vision aspect, like
Yeah.
I think Chronicles of Riddick, unless I'm totally wrong and super, super drunk, I think that kind of stuff was before, aside from maybe Metal Gear Solid, like stealth games had night vision. You know what I mean?
Also, I think that may have been one of the first continuity between games and movies.
Oh, that's true. Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Because it was
Yep.
legit canon, like
Yep. Because if you
cross
didn't
media,
play Butcher
like,
Bay, you didn't know how
yeah,
he got his sight.
which was super cool, actually. Like, I honestly think probably Butcher Bay is probably better than. Well, I didn't see that one that was just called Riddick. I hear it was pretty
I didn't
good,
see that.
but
Contaminated supplies
Exactly.
what?
Echo.
What is that business about? You playing the Division?
Yeah, man. I was trying to just do these little hard challenges.
For somebody
Kind of
who's
striking.
like, I'm gonna sell this piece of shit game 2 months ago, you sure are playing that shit.
This is nothing else to play. Dude, there's literally nothing else to play.
Oh,
I get on Destiny
that sucks.
to get my Sterling packages and I leave. I've played out all of my indie games. I've played
Oh.
out games on my 3DS.
Did you play Firewatch?
There's nothing else left for me to do.
Did you play Firewatch, bro? Because I know you'd love
Oh,
it.
I didn't get Firewatch yet.
Dude,
didn't.
check out Firewatch. It's definitely a shorter game, probably about 5 hours, but so good.
I've been on my second playthrough of
Gone Home?
Everyone's Going to the Rapture.
Oh, Rapture. Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that game out. Well, I really want to check out that game and like a bunch of other games, but like I've got so many games to finish. I got to finish Quantum Break. I got to finish this indie game, Lifeless Planet. I've got to finish Sunset Overdrive. I've got to do some more stuff on Elite Dangerous and its expansion because finally, as of 2 days ago, as of this recording, No Man's Sky has officially gone gold and is being printed to discs because they solved their lawsuit dispute because I guess fucking Sky TV of England sued them over the use of the word sky, which is the most.
So is their claim to fame just like suing people because they sued Microsoft
Sky
too?
England did. Oh, that's right, they did, but they won against Microsoft.
They won against Microsoft.
That's the thing. You know what it was? You know what I bet it was? Because Hello Games is English and Sky is English, and they did the whole Brexit thing and like fucking seceded. Like I bet you it was just like, oh man, we won that thing against Microsoft in the US. We need to keep it homegrown, So all right, Hello Games, you get to use the word sky. Represent, son. Anyway, where were we? Dame, you better get me the fuck back on topic, man. I need you to fucking guide the ship, bro.
Yeah, we were definitely on E3.
He's
We got
not
the
quite in
Microsoft, and then we
state.
went on Vin Diesel, and then that was the end of that.
Oh, yeah. Vin Diesel and his game. Awesome.
Yeah. But E3 for Microsoft was it was legit. It was about games, so
Yeah. Well, it was about games and it was about future game hardware.
Yeah.
Which is appreciated because the past 3 E3s, it's all been about like games, how it's connecting to your TV, how it's seeing you with the camera, and how it's going to integrate with PC. And to be fair, they did announce their Xbox Games Anywhere initiative, which honestly I think has been a long time coming, and I'm glad that they're really sticking to their guns this way. Like, I'm not a PC gamer, but I appreciate that because they essentially did sort of try this with Quantum Break. And I know you wouldn't necessarily know this, but if you bought Quantum Break, you get the PC version for free. So they essentially like trial run it with that. Like, they gave me a code and everything, and if I ever get a gaming PC and want to play Quantum Break in ultra settings or whatever, like, I can get it because I own it, which is great. Like, I think that whole sort of push for every major Microsoft Game Studios supported game going forward, which I assume will probably also include whatever Halo 6 is called. Everything is going to be cross-platform. play and cross-platform buy. So you buy on PC, you get it on Xbox. You buy it on Xbox, you get it on PC.
That's cool. That's such a good idea.
No muss, no fuss, And I think really as part of
Contamination scan initiated.
Damn it,
Just keep
Dave.
talking. Just keep talking.
Just keep talking. I gotta go. Oh,
awesome.
Dave, you cracked me the fuck up, man. What was this saying? I literally lost
anywhere.
everything
I mean,
I was saying. Oh no. You're right. I was saying, I think in terms of Microsoft's strategy as being a player in the video game entertainment space, I think that is one of the few true blows that only Microsoft can achieve against their rival Sony. There you go. Dame, take it away.
do you think that's going to cannibalize their hardware market?
Maybe.
With Xbox One S now, Xbox Scorpio, and PC.
Maybe. I think what it's meant to be if what's his name, who's head of Xbox right now, Phil Spencer, who's like the top dog and super cool, and in all the interviews and podcasts I've heard him on, he seems super legit. I think really the idea is to bring the PC gaming master race and the Xbox sort of bigotry together. And if you have the Xbox people and they're super duper into being an Xbox fanboy, if they want, they can jump to the high end PC and still play with their friends if they want to. Like, I think that is a very smart move, because ultimately, Xbox One especially is way more of basically a fancy Windows PC than 360 or the original Xbox ever were. So anyway,
That's true.
that stuff.
I just think hardware wise, that's just like it's like they're taking themselves out. But I mean, if they don't care and they just want to get that ecosystem all into the one mentality ecosystem,
yeah, which is definitely which has been their strategy this console generation at any rate.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me interested in their sort of. It's interesting. So at the end of their conference, right, and we'll get into a couple of their big marquee games in a second. They announced, without showing anything of the hardware or anything about what it looks like or anything like that, that next Christmas 2017, Xbox Scorpio codename is going to launch, and it would be 100% backwards compatible on Xbox One, and all Xbox One games would be compatible on Scorpio. And they claimed up front, with a little sizzle reel of just developers talking about the platform, that it would be the most powerful console hardware ever. And I thought that was really interesting, because the messaging that they were saying there, what was it? Phil Spencer said on stage. He said something about Microsoft's plan for the future was to break down generational barriers. And that's an interesting thing to say, because if we look at the way consoles have been, you buy a video game console and you have it for like 10 years at a time, basically. I believe, now that I think about it a little harder, the last generation was 6 years long, basically, before we got new consoles.
08 to 4, yeah, it was like 08, 07 to 13. 08 to...
the 360 hit 2005.
Okay, so yeah.
End of 2005, but so basically 2006. But yeah, because remember, they launched a whole year earlier than 360 or than PS3. But anyway, Phil Spencer's message was breaking down generational barriers, letting you play your games on PC and Xbox One and the forthcoming Xbox Scorpio.
Right.
And I think that's interesting. And earlier, even though they didn't really talk about it at the press conference, they said that they had opened up Xbox Live to integrate with other services like Steam and PlayStation Network. All they need is the other cooperation from those companies.
I'll
That's
tell you,
super
if
awesome.
they can get the cooperation with Steam, that's game over.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd agree.
PS4 is selling 2-to-1 ratio over Xbox
Yeah, but
One
Steam
right now.
literally would like dominate the market 100% because Steam literally is the reason I play on PC right now over anything else. Steam and Humble Bundle and stuff like that, which Steam would function the same way. It allows you to get way cheaper games. It allows you to have a way bigger market for indie developers and stuff like that. So I think really at the end, it would be no contest whatsoever. Whatever. Especially because then they could say, look, we want to be with you, but we want to be with only you. We don't want you to go then to Sony and be like, well, we'll be with you too. We want to have Steam as an Xbox, Microsoft only type thing. And if they could get that, that would be game over.
And that's the thing. You can't beat those Steam sales, dude. Those Steam sales are ridiculous.
That and Humble Bundle, it's the shit.
My gosh.
So I just want to point out something. He says, having had another half a glass of stuff.
Yeah, I'm sitting here drinking too. I'm with you.
I'm way ahead of you, bro. What was I saying? I was saying, I want to point out something, and that's who the fuck owns a Steam machine. That was not a successful thing.
Oh, no, that was a super unsuccessful thing, but that's just because it was poorly designed. Steam is software, not hardware. Steam should never have tried to become a hardware thing. It just was a terrible idea.
Yeah, they dipped their toes in it, but it was...
I agree.
God awful.
I agree.
God awful. So. But I do like the fact that most of the games that they're presented, we know a timeline for them. We know when they're coming out.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely... So jumping ahead a second, PS4 was all about future games. Only a handful of them, actually not even a handful, like 2 hitting this year before Christmas. PS4 was all about 2017, whereas Xbox One was all about, well, I'd say probably 75% about, here's what's hitting this fucking year. Gears of War 4, Forza Horizon 3, other stuff.
Other stuff.
I don't
miscellaneous.
I don't remember the list. You know?
Well, you know what?
To be fair, they did show off a giant boss battle that was live demoed of Final Fantasy 15, which I'm really excited for, by the way.
I'm excited for Final Fantasy 15, but that demo was awful.
Yeah. No, that live demo was like, ugh. Like, I've played the game.
Yeah,
I know how that fucking game's played. Whoever the fuck they got to play that game, I guess he was supposedly a developer that was supposed to be good at the game. That's what I heard from other podcasts. Like, oh, I feel so sorry for that dude. Like, that was not a good showing. Like you know, Adam, like, it's one of those showings where it's like live, but he's totally got God mode on, and that fucker would have died like 3 times in that boss fight. And just fucking it up, wasn't doing good camera angles with the right stick. Like, it was just like, ugh.
Well, I just listened to, or I read a really good article about that, about somebody complaining about somebody not playing, a demo very well. Right. And so presenting the first, quote, 30 minutes of the game. But if you're so bad at the game that you can't get anywhere in 30 minutes, you're not really presenting 30 minutes of the game. You're in fact presenting like 10 minutes of the game poorly. So it's not even like a good 30 minutes. Right. And so, and the article itself was on Tumblr in Action. So the article itself was actually coming from the total opposite point, where the person was all like, oh, ableist and horrible to complain that someone wasn't as good as you at playing video games, and it's, you know, how terrible of you to think that you have to be good at video games to be able to demonstrate them and stuff. And it was kind of like, well, but that's exactly what you need to be. If you're going to present a game but you're shitty at it, then you're not presenting the game. You're presenting a really shitty version of it. Just like if I'm a really bad cook and I go onto a cooking show to present a recipe and I do a shitty job making it, take forever, and I just don't show off any of the things that it can do, then I'm not presenting jack shit. And so it's like I was like, really, I firmly believe if you're going to present something, if you're going to demo something, you need to be good at that thing and you need to be able to present it to the best of its ability. Otherwise, why are you doing it?
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a point of someone bashing another person because they can't play a game better than them. It's just the fact that when you're presenting a game, especially on a scale as E3, when you have everybody in the world watching you, there's a certain flow and there's a certain feel that you have to show in a game for it to really flourish in front of 1,000 eyes that are watching you play on stage. Just imagine, let's take it back to 2014 and that big scene with Nathan Drake as he's running through the crowd in Madagascar, that huge chase scene. Can you imagine, like, if that was a bad showing, that would have been horrible for Naughty Dog.
Dude,
horrible.
But it was, remember last year when they did that
they
and
actually
it
put a trophy
crashed?
in there. That's the trophy. Because I got that as a trophy in there. They did that on purpose.
Is that really a
And
trophy
I think
in
they
that
did
game?
that. I think they did that on purpose to show you that this is running on PS4. This is not PC. This is not upscale. This is legit native powered PS4.
Yeah,
that we're showing you.
It's true.
You know,
despite the fact that PS4, just saying, despite the fact that the PS4 is like several years old at this point,
that's true.
the games consistently look
but just imagine,
way better than the Xbox One. Like, it's disgusting.
But yeah, just imagine if he took a wrong turn or got caught up in the crowd or didn't do a quick time event as fluid as he should have. That would have been a horrible showing for Uncharted 4.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
That would not have been cool for Sony. Especially that's your staple game. That's the game you ended off with.
That
would
like,
not have been good.
You know, because it definitely appeals to the graphics whores and the people who's like, holy shit, that's a fucking video game?
Right.
You can count the fucking facial hair follicles.
You know?
Yeah.
Imagine the amount of pressure that was on that guy playing that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so was there anything else in the Microsoft conference worth noting, other than the fact that Scorpio's coming, games are backwards and forwards compatible, however the fuck that works.
That's all literally just a promise that on the next console that comes out, these games will still be playable. That's the only thing forward compatibility would mean. Because how else can you?
No, because that's not what they said. They said all Xbox Scorpio games will be playable on Xbox One, and all Xbox One games will be playable on Scorpio.
Oh, so they're just promising backwards compatibility.
I guess.
Well, no, I guess I see what you're saying. Forward compatibility, as in all Scorpio games will still be playable on Xbox One. But what that means to me, at least, just hearing
low res.
Yeah, it means that the new games won't
800
be that
by
good.
600, 25 frames a second, if that.
Yeah, well, because if you can still play it on the Xbox One, then it cannot be optimized for future gen tech. It just can't. So how are you lowering the quality to still be able to be playable? Because can I take a PS3 game and go play it on PS2? No. Why? Because the PS2 doesn't have the graphical capabilities or the processing capabilities to play that game. So why would I develop a game that's still playable on the PS1 when I want to have it playable on the PS2? I wouldn't, because then it would be a PS1 game that's playable on the PS2, upscaled, which doesn't make it a good game. Now, I'm a huge non-graphic person. I don't care about graphics at all. But still, there is a certain level of like expectation that, you know, if I'm going to be paying for a console, I will expect it, you know. It's just, I might be making me a bit of a snob, but whatever. So I'm a bit of a snob.
No, if you want a Ferrari, you expect it to go fast.
Right, exactly. I'm not going to go get a damn Ferrari and have it just be like a just crappy kind of meh. Like, that would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, I totally understand. But I don't know. I think that like, overall, to me, Microsoft had a pretty solid showing. Like I said, they were all about the games. They totally disconnected from Connect. They didn't even mention Connect.
Good.
I know. They didn't mention any. They didn't go into that home media stuff, which is good because I don't want to hear that at E3.
Very true.
So I think they had a solid showing. I don't think they talked about Crackdown. I don't think they talked about Scalebound.
Determination scan completed.
They didn't talk about numbers, which is also good. But I mean, why would you talk about numbers? You're in second place. But
right?
then again,
Yeah,
Sony
of
didn't
course.
talk about numbers.
You never present the negative aspects ever.
Right.
So whatever you don't say says as much about where you're at as what you do say. So if they didn't mention numbers at all, that speaks volumes about where they're at, and they know it because otherwise they would have mentioned it. So
right. Yeah. So like I said, I think they had a solid show. I agree with Colin off of Reagan Collins' show. This is Xbox. This is Microsoft way of saying, you know what? We tap out. We lost this console generation. We're starting out with the Scorpio. This is here. This is what we got. This is how we're going forward. So it's almost like starting a new beginning for them. So
yeah,
balls in Sony's court at this point. See where they go with it.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's hit Sony. Let's get it done. Let's break it down. So here's what happened. Microsoft had a stellar press conference. Multiple people in the industry were like, yo, Microsoft had a baller shit. Somebody help me. Microsoft had a baller concert. And
reinforcements requested.
Yeah, those forcements requested, bro. Get him. Hostiles are coming. Get him, Dame. Get him.
That's hilarious. I will say this. I love the hell out of Sony's orchestra.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So Microsoft, considered by industry veterans in the medias, right before Sony's conference, they were just like, man, Sony has a really tough road to show because Microsoft was really strong, really solid, very forward-thinking, and they delivered a clear message, unlike the previous years. Sony rolls up, they're like, yo, we're going to take a page out of that gay man who runs Apple, Tim Cook's book, and be like, yo, the Sandy Hook shooting? Sandy? Was that it? Or was that something years ago? Anyway, there was some shooting or some shit that happened on the morning of, which ironically, the E3 press conference, there was an Apple press conference that morning, and Tim Cook
That was Orlando.
Yeah, the Orlando shooting. Ooh. And like Tim Cook was just like, yo, like a bunch of gay people died or whatever, and he's like openly gay or whatever, and he runs fucking Apple, the most powerful company in the world. And he's like, we're gonna take a fucking moment of silence, and it's like, okay, mad respect, dog. That's cool. And then Sony,
you said Tim Cook or
Tim Cook, yeah.
At the old conference. Oh, that might have been Sandy.
The Apple press conference took place, like 30 minutes before the Microsoft press conference that morning.
Yeah, that was Orlando.
And then Sony coming in at 6 p.m., they're just like, oh, yo, Apple did this. We're going to do that too. Which I was like, okay. Because I had watched the Apple press conference in between. Yeah, for sure. He says out loud, acknowledging the fact that Adam has went to go handle his newborn child. It's all good. For sure. I don't even know. He's still on the line. He had a baby monitor going. Anyway, not important. I mean it's super important because he's got a kid, But anyway, Sony took a page out of Apple's book and we're just like, hey, we're gonna take a moment of silence too. And we're gonna respect what happened there. And was it Jack Tretton? I think it was.
They have Jack Tretton?
Am I thinking of somebody else?
Jack Tretton left Sony about...
Who the fuck was the dude who got up on stage?
That's Andrew House. Right?
No, that's the British dude. British
Jack
dude is
Finham's been with Sony
Andrew
since PS4
Hauser.
launch.
It was the other dude. He's a white dude, Sony executive.
Oh man, I know who it is, man. I'm looking at his face.
I Google it, but my hand-eye coordination is not good right now.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Oh man.
Yeah. Anyway, the white dude, Sony exec, head of PlayStation, I believe, as a whole, even over
Shuhei Yoshida.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, really off the rails tonight.
I'm sorry, bro. Whatever. I'm making up for that one Rising Tide you did with us, bro.
Yeah,
you
man.
were crazy. Anyway. Anyway, he took the moment of silence, and then he was just like, cool. And then he was like introducing Bear McCreary, acclaimed Hollywood composer. He's the new composer of the next video game you're about to see. And every single trailer you're going to see tonight will be composed with this symphony in front of you live. And it was just like, first of all, I'm a huge fucking fan of Bear McCreary. I have like all of his soundtracks. I loved him when he got his big break at Battlestar Galactica, which is one of the most epic soundtracks ever. And then the fact that Bear McCreary was both there in person, because I know his fucking face, because I have fucking signed CDs of that man. And he was conducting the orchestra, and he did the music for like the next game that we're about to talk about. Like, that was the most classiest thing I have ever seen at an E3. Like, live orchestra for the people that are in the room there live. And not only that, but also, you know, Bear McCreary's got some, you know, he's got some street cred in the geek crowd, you know, because he did Battlestar Galactica, and he does the music for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I cover on my other podcast, Rising Tide, a Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, available right now on all podcast services. I can't believe I even was able to say that. Did that sound coherent, Dame? Fact check me on that, please.
Well,
sweet. Yeah, and so then the orchestra starts playing, and there's like this kid and this beautiful thing, and you're just like, oh man, this game is really good looking. It's in the snow, and this kid's just like, Dad, help me. And then motherfucking Kratos of God of War comes out, and he's all old and haggard, and he's like, yes, son, or whatever, and he's got a different voice actor, and it's got a different tone, and the camera shifts around, and it shifts really close to the back of his head, like Resident Evil 4 style, or like Gears of War. And you want to take it from here, James? You want to take it?
I wonder how much it would have cost Sony to get Gerard Butler to play the voice of Kratos.
Oh my God, I can't. I never even thought about that till right now. But that is the most genius thing I've ever heard.
Oh man,
that'd be so good. And I have nothing against the old God of War Kratos voice actor Phil Lamar. He's a legendary, prolific voice actor. He did Samurai Jack. He's done Futurama, Simpsons, you name it. That fucking magnificent man has done it. But I agree with you. An old haggard Kratos, Gerard Butler would be fucking pimp.
All you have to do is just think King Leonidas. Think Leonidas. Just go for it. Just go for it. He would. Oh man, I would. Maybe in future time. No, but I do like the way that they're going with God of War. You know, they remind me more of a Bloodborne-esque, and I'm not really a big Dark Souls fan. I tried Bloodborne. You know, it wasn't the fact that I didn't like it. I just didn't keep up with it. Too many games came around the horizon, and it was see how I did that one? See how I did that
Dave,
one?
I fucking digi high five you right now.
What? What just happened? What did I just miss?
Oh, fucking Dame was just segueing like a baller boss.
What?
I used
hold on.
Bloodborne and then Horizon in the same sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And E3.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten to Horizon yet.
Sure.
Speaking of on the horizon,
God.
no, but I like the way that they're going with it. It has like the it doesn't give that hack and slash regular God of War feel that you would get with this big cinematic, set pieces going in and out back to a hack and slash style. It's giving more of a Dark Souls Bloodborne approach, and I think that is very classy of God of War. I think that's going to bring in a new audience. I think that's going to bring in people who really weren't in the hack and slashes into, because it's looking like it's kind of, well, they're presenting it with as the title, just like a reboot would, just saying God of War. But we know it's years later because it's the older Kratos. He has a son, But it's like I said, it's inviting more people to come into that franchise who haven't been big God of War fans. I think that was genius on Sony. And that was, that was I like the approach that they're going with that. I like that. What else? Where did they transition from there? They transitioned to something else before they did VR.
They did. It was Horizon, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Horizon.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Oh,
so they showed off like they had gameplay of Horizon last E3, but the gameplay that they showed off this year had like UI and like this is how the game is actually going to be moment to moment what you're doing. And it's Legend of Zelda meets GTA in a prehistoric, like mechanicized robot dinosaur post-apocalyptic future that has like settings in like some sort of like established like tribal but technological religion thing in their theme, but at the same time with like hints of like Tomb Raider and stuff.
Yeah, I like the fact that each of those mechanical dinosaurs, those creatures, they have their own history. They have their own uniqueness. They're just not like a bunch of creatures thrown together into a game and just say, "Hey, here's A, B, and C. Go attack A, B, and C this way." They all have their reasons for their existence in the game.
And then the other thing that I noted was that when I don't know the name of the lead character or whatever, was that when they were fighting the dinosaur creatures, or I guess in her viewpoint, like hunting them, right? Because she thinks they're like real creatures or whatever. Like when she was like, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Battle of Hothing, whatchamacallit, like tying the ropes to like trip up the legs and stuff. Like everything was physics based. Like it wasn't like, oh, this is the animation and this is what's gonna happen when you fight this thing every single goddamn time. You know what I mean? Like that is really it's smart of the developer because it creates unique situations every time. And then B, it just breathes more life into this brand new intellectual property that Guerrilla Games, formerly of, they made all of the Killzone games, and they've made a shit ton of Killzone games. And to see them doing something new, it seems like they're pouring so much of their talent and passion. And I'll be honest, like I've actually really enjoyed all of the Killzone games, like over the years, like even their PSP game. Like I think that they're a really talented developer, and they're very underrated. Despite the fact that they're from like a minority nation or something like that. I don't know what nation they're from. Strike that from the record. I don't know shit. But anyway, like this game looks it looks totally up my alley. I'm game for their crazy story that they're taking on. With their whole aesthetic of like you're fighting like robo dinosaurs that have like fucking rockets. It's basically like prehistoric meat versus Transformers Beast Wars. Like it's fucking awesome. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything much else to say about it except that won many video game publications game of show, and yeah, it's looking pretty great.
It seems like they're going to give you multiple ways of taking down a dinosaur, one of the mechanical beasts. You know, it seems like they're not just going to show you one way that you can attack them.
Yeah,
You're actually hunting them. You know, it's pretty dope.
and the other thing that I saw, which not a terrible lot amount of people commented on, was that like your heroine chick you play as, she has like a weapon wheel, and like when they opened up the weapon wheel in the demo, she had a shit ton of shit in her weapon wheel. Like we don't even know what everything does, but it looks very exciting. I wanna jump ahead to the Insomniac thing because I know Adam has to go. Are you still here, Adam? Adam is not here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, I wanted to jump ahead to the Insomniac announcement just so Adam can hear it because I'm not sure he knows about it. Because Adam has to go tend to his child and sleep and stuff. So did I share the Insomniac announcement with you, Adam?
I don't think so.
Okay, so basically it was 1 minute and 30 seconds. And it was maybe the most gorgeous graphical trailer of the show, and it was running in real time according to all accounts. And it starts off with some voiceover, and it goes Sony Sony Computer Entertainment presents
Sony Entertainment of America.
And then it goes Insomniac Games. Do you know the developer Insomniac Games, Adam?
Yeah, I know them.
Yeah, they did the Ratchet and Clank games. They did Sunset Overdrive, and like
Ratchet and Clank's like one of my all-time favorite series.
Okay, and so
Insomniac do Crash.
So it goes.
No, that's Mad Dog.
No, that's Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog. There we go. Yeah.
So it goes Sony, and then it goes Insomniac, and then we get a picture of New York City, and we get a voiceover, and then we see the Insomniac Games logo.
You automatically know who it is.
And then we see the Marvel logo, and then Spider-Man flips onto a building, and he's just like, what do I know? I'm just a nerdy guy from Queens. And then we see him like awesome. Swinging down through the fucking city, and it's the most fucking gorgeous looking thing you've ever seen in your fucking life. And he's like flipping around, and he's like crashing through a window in a coffee shop, and like people are scattering, and he double web flips like the window, and he like pulls himself through it to like chase a bad guy like down the street, like punching a dude. And there's this epic fucking music going on here, and like it was just like, and then it just goes boom, just the basic Spider-Man logo, and then it just goes hashtag Spider-Man PS4 exclusive. And like at that point in the conference, awesome. When I watched it live, I just went, oh my God, we're getting because like I remember back in the day, the Spider-Man 2 video game done by or published by Activision, done by Treyarch, that had the realistic web slinging physics. And you can totally see the realistic web slinging physics in this game, but with the graphical fidelity of like Uncharted 4, and developed by one of the most well-respected and well-known AAA developers who recently just did an open world crazy like moving through open spaces thing in Sunset Overdrive, which unfortunately is an Xbox One exclusive. And they're doing a official Marvel, since they've been bought by Disney and all the video game rights revert back to them, project that is not based on the forthcoming MCU movie and is an original Spider-Man property, because he's got a slightly different suit, and like he's got like the classic 90s Spider-Man logo, like the tattoo that you have on your arm, Adam.
That's the Spider-Man I bang with.
Yeah, sure,
that's
bro.
That's the real Spider-Man there.
Okay, yeah.
But the cool. Logo is white, and you can clearly see like really high-tech web shooters on his arms. And at the same time, though, he's got like the squinty robotic eye lenses from Civil War, so it's sort of like a combo. And then in like the what was I saying? Yeah, basically. Thanks, Dame. Thanks, man.
Just crashed. He was on a road, so he crashed.
I literally don't remember what I'm saying. But basically, the Spider-Man logo on his chest is all big like the 90s, but it's white. And the top parts of the legs like wrap around the back. So the plot synopsis that was officially released on Marvel.com was you're playing a Peter Parker in the prime of his Spider-Man powers, and he knows who he is, and he's with Mary Jane, and you're playing a Spider-Man that is confident in his ability to be Spider-Man.
That's the Spider-Man. That's my favorite Spider-Man there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to be like the new one that's learning everything. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah, but the basic point is, for the first time ever, we have a genuine, bona fide, hit after hit developer making a fucking Spider-Man game. And the other thing that the new... God damn it, that the other... the thing that so basically there's this new head of Marvel video games entertainment, and he seems like a real cool dude, and he basically said, we're going to go out and we're going to find the best developers, and we're going to make good Marvel games because there's no reason we shouldn't. And he said that this project with Insomniac has actually been in development for years already, whether that means actual development time or whatever. But my understanding is that because Insomniac is very big, they have multiple teams. My understanding is that they have the A team on this. They have the Ratchet and Clank team on it. And yeah, we don't have a release date yet, but like everything about that was just like, Jesus shit. This is the Batman Arkham Knight Spider-Man game that we have been wanting forever, Adam. You should look up the video. Anyway, I wanted to say that. You can say about it or whatever, look up the video or whatever, because it's only a minute and 30 long. Do your sign-off thing and like say the thing to your kid or whatever and do the thing. Go do the stuff.
Oh, alrighty. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for another episode of, what is this, The Fork in Your Mouth? Is that what it's called?
No. You
Shit, I don't
fucking
know.
fail.
Something with
I've
a
been
fork.
drinking
I don't
all
know.
night. You fucking
Tim was like,
failed
you want to join me for a podcast? I'm like, sure. That's what I knew about what I was doing here.
No, it's okay.
But,
I appreciate you joining
thanks for joining us, guys. And this is Adam signing off. Good night.
From the Fork in Your Ear podcast.
Fork in your ear. There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
All right.
Peace out, Adam. Thanks for coming, bro. All right. Sweet. And then from actually backtracking, because we just did Spider-Man and Adam signed off. So right before that, one of the Sony execs, I believe it was Andrew Hauser this time, which is why I think you're thinking about him, Dame, was just like, yo, the next few games, they're all PlayStation VR exclusive.
Yep.
Which first of all, that's great that there's PlayStation VR exclusives, because let's be honest, like they hit it out of the fucking park in my opinion.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and it's something else I want to touch on after what you're gonna say.
Yeah, and so then they go, I believe they went, you see Batman's face mask, and then you hear the Mark Hamill Joker, which is of course the most recognizable Joker of all time.
Right.
And you hear him talking about, sort of directed at the audience, like, oh, do you really think you can be Batman? Oh, you think you're powerful enough to take on the mantle? And then it doesn't show any gameplay, but it just goes Rocksteady Games, PlayStation Entertainment, Batman Arkham VR.
Well,
and then
I like
boom,
how they presented that.
Be the Batman.
Yeah, I like how they presented that because they left it wide open. You didn't know what you were going to do. You just knew you were going to be Batman.
Well, I mean, really, what else do you need? What more do you need, Dame? I mean, for
right?
real.
Which is a genius pitch. I mean, that's not so much a genius pitch. It's a given. It's a slam dunk. Who doesn't want to be Batman? Who doesn't want to be Batman? If you don't want to be Batman, at least we want to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
As hell.
get the fuck out. you ain't human. Get off the planet.
Batman.
But to add a little more data to that, because it's been some time since E3, people have played it. My understanding is that it's obviously first person, and you start off in Wayne Manor, and you do the thing with the piano, and you open the fucking clock, and you go down in the Batcave, and you literally reach down with your hands and put on the cowl.
That's so badass.
And then you throw batarangs realistically in the Arkham Knight setting. The other thing that everybody agreed on is that the Batman Arkham VR, because already Batman Arkham Knight is one of the most beautiful next generation or current generation games available. They said that it literally is the best looking VR game made so far.
Oh, wow.
Which makes total sense to me, to be honest, because I mean, they're, the way they handle their art style and the detail, their attention to detail, Rocksteady is fucking insane. Like, they're totally on the Uncharted level in that department, in my opinion.
I was in
right?
awe.
Would you agree?
Knight. Yeah, I was in awe of Arkham Knight. I said, when I was going through the Batmobile, wow, I was going through Gotham City in the Batmobile, and just to get out the car and look at the Batmobile and see the rain hitting against.
Oh my God,
Batmobile.
dude, you know what I said at the time last year? Like I don't know what it's like in DC. Like, I don't know if it rains a lot or whatever. But I live in Washington. It rains a lot. And to see rain done realistically with like physics, because like I did stuff to play with the rain because I know how rain behaves when it's on a car or when it's on a thing, and it was just like, oh my God, they nailed video game rain for the first time in my whole life. Because like I remember shitty things like Splinter Cell, and it's like, oh, it's raining, and then you like pan the camera up and it's like a curtain of rain around you, and it's not raining anywhere else, and it's just sort of moving around you, and it's just like, oh, that's fucking cheesy as shit.
Yeah, it's cheesy out.
But anyway, the hands-on on it was impressions was that it is the best VR thing made so far, basically.
Well, I heard it's like more of a detective mode type of game.
Yeah, I did hear that it was super less action aside from throwing batarangs every once in a while. And it's more of you being the Bruce Wayne detective Batman and doing the crime scene reconstruction from Batman Arkham Knight and doing that stuff, but in more depth and even more fleshed out.
So with a game of that stature, how long do you think that game will last you? Was that like a 3 hour? Not even 3 hours.
Well, my understanding from the impressions, without spoilers, because if I say something, it will totally spoil the plot of what the murder mystery is of the game, and I don't want to do that for people because that's rude, and disingenuous to Batman people, because it's actually like a really big deal. The murder mystery.
I kind of figured out who it was once they talked about the. I was watching either GameStop or IGN, and they were talking about their review on it, but he didn't want to spoil it. I was like, oh, this is either somebody. When he said somebody close to him, I'm like, okay, it's only one of two people.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, no, the general consensus was that this was, even though it's billed as Batman VR, in a game and an exclusive, they're billing it as an experience, and so they're probably looking at like the length of a movie or something like that. Which I think, honestly, since VR's on, I mean, I don't know if I'm right on this or not, but I think VR as a goggle, as a consumer product, the most public outing of it is gonna be on the PlayStation. But anyway, I think for now, I think that that's the right route to go. And then from Batman VR, immediately riding on like your mad feels for Batman and all of the fanboy stuff for Mark Hamill, it goes boom, Star Wars theme, and then some actual gameplay of you being in the cockpit of an X-wing, flying around, looking around, fighting in space. Sorry, my phone keeps going.
I don't know why I thought it went Star Wars first and then Batman.
No, it was Batman and Star Wars because I remember like jumping out of my chair and I was like, that is the greatest marketing thing ever. Because while you're thinking about Mark Hamill for the diehards, you know, you're also thinking about Star Wars because you can't help it. And then boom, Star Wars. That is fucking Sony on fucking point.
I know
You
I'm
know
gonna
what I
piss a
mean?
lot of people off, but it has to be said.
What?
In my opinion, I would rather take Mark Hamill as the Joker than Luke Skywalker. I'm sorry.
You know, I love Luke Skywalker, but I agree with you because,
Yep.
you know, because he's acted more as the Joker
Yep.
and it's the most
And that
dynamic,
voice,
defining
is-
performance I think you can imagine. Like it's,
Yep.
you know, and the other thing about it, you know, he loves the Joker. Like he ain't some, you know, actor who does a role. Like he nerds the fuck out about playing the Joker. You know, really looking forward to hearing him in his lifetime goal of playing an animated version of the Joker in The Killing Joke. Like he's literally said that so many times, and it's finally happening later this July, actually, home video. But anyway, it goes into Star Wars. But the other cool thing about Star Wars is that it goes Star Wars Battlefront, and then it goes X-Wing Mission, and then it goes Criterion Games, who's maker of Burnout, which I have mad respect for them because, first of all, I love all the Burnout games. I even love Black, their first-person shooter. That was sort of an homage.
Oh, Black was
Oh, you love
good.
Black too? Fucking hot.
Oh
God
my
damn it, dude. This is where I
gosh,
fucking love
yo.
you, man. You're the fucking shit.
I think Black I think Black was like the first game that really showcased the PS2's power. I think that was
Oh,
when I first
PS2?
saw
I
that
played
game.
it on Xbox, son, and I thought it showcased the Xbox's power because of all the destruction shit.
Oh my gosh, when I first saw bullets fly, chip off the pillars and saw smoke dust
Oh,
come up,
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this game is legit.
Dude, and you know, and the other thing that I really loved about the game, because I'm a fucking geek about this shit, is Michael Giacchino did the music for that game. You know, Lost and the new Star Treks and like every Pixar movie in the last 5 years and all that stuff. Like that music was fucking pimp. I have the soundtrack.
Wasn't that
You know?
published by EA?
Yes. Yeah. Well, EA
Uh-huh.
owns Criterion, so, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, they launched right into X-Wing VR, and it was just like, first of all, I've pre-ordered and fully bought a PlayStation VR, you know, super pack with the wands and all that shit. You know, so I'm a day one PSVR guy because I believe in VR because I played with an Oculus pre-release at PAX in 2015. I believe in VR tech. I'm sold. I'm on board with Sony's strategy for it because it seems like they're, well, A, they're doing it cheaper, and B, it seems like their tech is a little better than Oculus, actually.
It's hilarious because literally while we were texting during the press conference, I was like, "Yeah, man, I don't know if I'm just gonna drop $400 on something I've never seen." Because I,
oh yeah, no, I remember you and I were texting. You and I were texting so much, Dame. That was so much fun because
That
I was
was
just
hilarious.
like, boom, be the
Right.
Batman, fly an X-wing. Get fucking wrecked, other VR people. We got the
It just
goods.
happened
You
all in
know?
one motion. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm just gonna. I don't know if I could just drop $4. Oh my god!
Yeah,
I
I know.
know.
Oh, I know. Oh my god. Did you pre-order one? Were you able to get one?
No, not yet. No,
Oh,
I
okay.
can't now. No,
Yeah, they're sold out, son.
Colin was like, "That's it." He said he got his. He
Shit.
couldn't even get Greg's.
Yeah,
Like,
that
couldn't even
sucks.
pre-order. Well, they're gonna get this from Shuhei, so
Yeah,
doesn't matter. They're gonna get one anyway.
Yeah, it don't matter for the kind of funny guys. Anyway,
Right? They're gonna get this.
but yeah, no, man. When they dropped that, like, I nerded fucking out. I was just like, I feel 100% confident in my decision to plop. I think it was $500 on the fucking set. You know.
Well, they had a strong, like I said, they had a strong showing. I think they started off with their new IP first. Then they went into Batman because I can't remember the name of the new IP. Like a first-person shooter, and it almost has this look of like a No Man's Sky look, which your space explorers, when something happens on one of the planets.
Oh yeah, you're
man.
right. That actually looked really awesome. I don't remember what it was, but it was really cool.
Yeah, and then it went to Batman, and it went to Star Wars, and then it went to Resident Evil.
Oh yeah, and that
Which
was the
was-
other thing. And so they show a first person, totally like Hideo Kojima's / Konami's canceled Norman Reedus project, PT, which turned out to be
Mhm.
Silent Hills,
Mhm.
plural, which is an amazing demo, and I'm sorry that you can't get it unless it's already downloaded, because it's really just
Really?
a work of. Did you play PT, Dame?
I beat it. I've only beaten it once. I could have beaten it twice, but
Well,
I
it's short.
screwed
I
up
mean, it's
the
20, 30 minutes
controller.
tops.
Yeah.
But it's
I screwed
definitely
up
an
the-
experience you never forget. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, and so
Oh.
then they show Resident Evil 7, which is first person, doesn't seem like you get any weapons, and you're literally in a residential house that is full
Mhm.
of evil for the first time ever, which is somewhat ironic given its title, because it's actually called Biohazard in
Did you get a chance to play the
Japan.
demo?
God, man, I downloaded it, and as far as I know, I don't think there's a time limit on it, like if it expires
It
or
isn't.
anything like that.
Oh.
I've sat down to literally be ready to stream it a couple times, and then I've just been distracted by things. Like I was gonna do it Sunday, and then I was gonna do it July, and it just haven't happened yet. I'm still looking forward to it. Like I know it's short too, like PT, but like, so you've actually played it. Like, what do you think about
Mhm.
it?
I like it. I like the
Awesome.
I like the tension of it. I think, I've said this before. I think first person adds a different tension than third person. It it puts a little bit more in a fear factor, because it puts you right there in the situation and makes you feel like you are in that situation. I think even the scale back, I think Outlast wouldn't have been as impactful as it would have been in third person that it was in first person. If you have someone chasing you down the hall in third person, you have camera views on them, slightly behind you, so you can. It doesn't feel as bad. But if you're in first person and you're running and you look around, and there's a guy on your back, it's just like, oh shit, I need to get away from this person. So that's like, I like the fact that they're going that route, with like the PT route of it. It has essence of an original old school Resident Evil, where you pick up your items, you have to hold your items, because later on down the road you're going to need that item to
We'll just
either
check.
unlock
We'll just
something.
check out Resident Evil 0 or Resident Evil, the HD remakes, which were based themselves on I mean, they weren't HD at the time, on the GameCube remakes, which I played a lot out of, and those were works of art, despite the fact that they
Yeah.
still had their classic Resident Evil shitty controls. Works of
Right.
art,
And
loved them.
those camera angles were awful.
But then the big trick though with the Resident Evil 7 though, which caught everybody by surprise, I thought was, it's like, okay, cool, first person Resident Evil. All right, that seems sweet. And then it goes boom, out beginning of next year, and then it goes boom, playable from start to finish in PlayStation VR. And it was just like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really scary in VR.
Yep.
And because I want to say something about VR, because I've tried Oculus headsets at PAX. The thing about VR that people don't understand until you've actually tried them is, even though you're sitting in a chair, like if you've got good headphones on, or at least the ones that they had on the Oculus booths, they always had noise canceling, 5.1 surround sound headphones.
Right.
First of all, obviously you have a headset on, so you don't see jack shit except the game, which is cool in its own right because it's super immersive. But then the sound, like I was on a show floor with like hundreds of thousands of people, and I put it on and I forgot that I was there. And if anybody who's ever been to a convention, a Comic-Con or anything, they are the loudest fucking places, aside from maybe like a really popular concert, like you can imagine, And so the fact that you forget about where you are, and if you're in your home, oh shit, Resident Evil is gonna make you shit your pants, son. Like,
you wouldn't even have to cut the lights off, because you're gonna be right there.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. You could totally, you know, you could totally play it, you know, during a sunny afternoon. And then rip your goggle off when something tries to kill you.
That is badass.
Yeah. And then speaking of PT and canceled PT projects, Hideo Kojima, former video game creator, developer, designer, programmer, superstar, writer at that as well, of Konami Games, creator of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, and one of his lesser known, but in my opinion, awesome games, Zone of the Enders. He trotted out on stage in person and said, "Hey, everybody, I'm back."
About that interest. That interest is just like Darth Vader couldn't have came in on a better interest than that, man. Like,
well, because the thing is, though, even though Hideo Kojima doesn't have a huge list of diverse titles to his name, his games are so well respected for both their quality and their wacky alternate Japanese M. Night Shyamalan style.
Right.
They basically trotted out and said, "Hey, Sony has Hideo Kojima exclusive. We're funding his next game. BT Dubs, we basically have the only other person who could be possibly considered in the same sentence as Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Mario and Zelda. And here's a trailer for the weirdest whatever the fuck game is coming out. It's called Death Stranding, which is the weirdest title ever, and it had Norman Reedus of Walking Dead fame and, in my opinion, before Walking Dead, because he was cool before Walking Dead, Boondock Saints. He strides out of an ocean with a bunch of dead whales. He's naked, and he's got like a tube attached to a baby from his belly, and he's got a bunch of crosses around his neck, and he's crying, and he looks like he's weeping, and the video fades, and the baby's gone, maybe symbolizing that he was like being reborn or something. And then there's 7 other floating cross baby people or robots floating in the sky, and the credits come down. It says Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima game exclusive to Sony PlayStation. Crowd flips out. People, and Hideo himself has said he wants to be super clear that trailer was totally made in engine, but it was an engine that they picked up just to do that trailer. The game is entering full production in the next couple months. Because
they had to figure out which engine they wanted to use, right?
Yeah, and I think one could I mean, he said that he was still picking an engine, which seems kind of strange given the fact that he made that trailer and it's of like photoreal quality, which is fine because Metal Gear Solid 5, gorgeous fucking game, and BT Dubs runs at 60 frames a second. I don't even know how he got his team to do that, but he is the man who can do this thing. And so whatever this game is going to be, it's going to be amazing. He's already said that fans of stealth action and more action-oriented games like Dark Souls, this is his target audience. So, I mean, obviously, he's the grandfather of stealth action games. Like, who would know better, right?
Right.
And the fact that he wants to make it a little more actiony seems to sort of basically, in my mind, since I'm a Metal Gear guy, go in line with Metal Gear Solid 5, which you can play it either way, and it plays perfect either way. It's a perfect third-person action game, and it's a perfect stealth game, because Hideo Kojima basically accepts nothing less than perfection with the only limit of the technology at the time. So it'd be really amazing to see what he's able to do, both with full creative freedom with Sony, because they've gone out on a limb and have fully funded his development house, which is officially called Kojima Productions, which is a big fuck you to Konami, which I'm okay with because Konami just fucked that deal up royally. You know?
Man.
But yeah, I don't know. As a Metal Gear guy and Hideo Kojima fan, I'm really looking forward to whatever this game is. I don't think any of us are going to see it like playable or even out for the next couple years. Like
2019.
Yeah.
2019.
Like maybe if because he's unburdened creatively. Maybe the team that he's got, might be better with something out to prove. I don't know how many people he was able to poach from his old studio. I'm sure some people left to go with him. Optimistically, end of 2018, more realistically,
Yeah.
end of 2019.
Yeah, I'm saying that, and that's on a good day. Fall 18 on a good day.
Either way, we have an exclusive Hideo Kojima game to look forward to on PS4. But other than that, there was a bunch of other cool stuff. Sony Bend announced their new game, which I don't remember it was.
He's gone.
But people were sort of ho-hum about it, despite the fact that it looked like Sons of Anarchy meets The Last of Us. But I guess it's open world, which is its big distinction. And there's thousands of zombie. But yeah, that's basically what...
Detroit.
Oh my god, I love Quantic Dream. I want Detroit.
I hope they learn the lessons from Beyond. I like Beyond.
Did you know what? I have not played Beyond. I did play the demo.
Oh man.
I own the remastered PS4 Ultra HD that restructures the story chronologically, which I guess was everybody's problem the first time around. And people say it is actually way better chronologically.
It is.
So
well, you know what I did? Well, I played because I got it on the original PS3, so I played it through. Because if you can look at it through two different views. If you play it the first way through, it's almost like going through Jodie's diary and going back and forth with her life. Which is probably what David Cage wanted to do.
Well, no spoilers. I own it. I haven't played it yet. I'd like to play it at some point. No spoilers, please.
Oh no spoilers. No spoilers. But if you play it chronologically, because that's what I did. I played it regular, and then I went back and played it again chronologically, and it makes, to the casual, it makes much more sense.
You played it twice?
Yeah, played it twice.
Huh. Okay, so I got a straight up question for you. How much time am I looking at to get through the game?
If you played like I played a game of that statue, I always play it like I'm watching a movie, so I want to be as dramatic and cinematic as I could be in a cinematic style game. 10 hours, 10 to 15 hours. 10 to 15 hours. Because the reason why I played it, I tried to get the trophy. There's about 27 different endings in that game. Either 24 or 27 different endings. And I got the 16. I got the 16. But you can't just play at the end, because you can't just play the ending chapter and get the trophies, because there's certain things that build up to the ending chapter that you have to do in order for the outcomes to be different. So you have to play it at least in the middle all the way out to the end. But there is a part in that game, though, that I think maybe one of the most what's the word I'm looking for? Not dynamic, but one of the most intricate scenes I've ever seen in video gaming.
Okay.
I think it was Ellen Page at probably her best in that whole game. It's a level. I wouldn't even say it's a chapter, or so. Not even just a scene. It's a whole chapter. So that was one of the first games where you feel sorry and you connect with Ellen Page, because you see what she's gone through. I haven't done that in a long time. Well, to that point in a long time, up until The Last of Us. So it's a powerful chapter, very powerful.
Okay. Well, sounds good.
I would say at least play it to that point. And I think if you get to that point, you know which chapter I'm talking about. You're like, yeah. I understand. Because a lot of things go on in that chapter, which are very powerful and sentimental.
Well, like I said, I own it and I am looking forward to it. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get to it in October, but that's if I'm not all consumed by No Man's Sky, which I can't remember if I said all the details on it. But No Man's Sky has officially been gold. It's done. Holy shit! 4 years in the making. 10-man
That's going
team.
to crazy.
And the thing about it though is it's releasing. So it got delayed from its June 20th release date to August 20th. And it's coming out earlier than August 20th because it is done. And they're all excited to get it out. So it's coming out officially August 9th now. Which means basically a month from when we recorded this. Check me out, son. I'm going to be living in No Man's Sky and streaming the shit out of it. That's all I'm saying.
That game is going to be the catalyst of a crazy 3 months that it hits after that. 4 months, excuse me, that hits after that. Because after No Man's Sky in August, and like September is Destiny, Final Fantasy. October is
Final Fantasy first, I believe.
Final Fantasy is the 30th.
No, sir. It is not.
Unless they pushed it. They must have pushed
no,
it.
No, it's earlier than Destiny. Destiny's the 20th, right?
Right.
Final Fantasy is either the 10th or the 15th. I don't remember which.
So you got Final Fantasy, you got Destiny in October, you got The Last Guardian and Watch Dogs.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Oh, we'll just touch on it real briefly because I do love their previous games despite the fact that this one took 10 years to come out. Last Guardian officially confirmed for October 9th, I believe.
I don't remember. It was October.
It was early October. It wasn't later. But either way, apparently it's finally coming out. Rain or shine, shitty game in development hell or not. The things about it that I've heard are some people have been like completely turned off by it, and other people are like, it may be game of the year. So mixed feelings about it. But I'm okay with that because there was also mixed feelings about Ico and mixed feelings about Shadow of the Colossus. And in my opinion, both those games are masterpieces.
I think Shadow of the Colossus is a little bit more universal.
That's true.
Ico.
And Shadow of the Colossus is also more of a game than
right.
Ico. Ico is more like, it's like a third-person walking simulator almost, you know, like
it's
Gone Home or like, yeah. Yeah, you're right. It did have some platforming. I'm forgetting. I'm sorry, Dame. I'm all over the map. You know what you're talking about.
I tried with Ico. I was like, I'm bored. It bored me, you know. And I like puzzling, but it bored me.
I think Ico is sort of like an AMC show. It's a slow burn. Whereas Shadow Colossus, yeah, you've got some time before you fight a Colossus, but the meat of the game is fighting the Colossus because you spend hours fighting those fucking things.
Right.
But yeah, no. Shadow Colossus is easily in my top 10 favorite games of all time, though. Yeah.
So that's October. In November, it's Call of Duty and Battlefield, man.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Sorry.
Then there's a little lady called Lara Croft whose exclusivity runs out. It's been a year.
It's true. It actually was not talked about at E3 at all, and there's no advertising campaign, but it is coming out this year. People guess ? That it's coming out October or November. And for PlayStation users, as an Xbox One guy who has played the shit out of Rise of the Tomb Raider. Rise of the Tomb Raider was my game of the year last year. Like that's all I'm saying. I feel like that's all I need to say. And even more so than that, the survival mode and the DLCs for it were maybe among the best collection of DLCs I've ever had for a video game that already was game of the year.
I'm pretty sure that game was a solid game, but it was just the fact that The Witcher 3 could do no wrong in people's eyes. It just couldn't last year.
Sure, for sure.
It couldn't, you know. And I'm with Colin. That game is just too dense. it's just too fucking dense. I tried to get into it. It's just too dense, and I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. And I deleted it off my. I mean, I have it. I just deleted it off my PS4 because I was like, it's just too much. The crafting system was too in depth. The upgrade system was too in depth. The world was too huge. I was like, I'm done. Tap out. It wasn't a bad game.
And I've yet to play it, and I might at some point. So,
I bought it when it was like, when Sony has those flash sales. It was like
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna check out The Witcher 2, and I realize they're not necessarily exactly the same game, but I'm gonna check out The Witcher 2 and see if I like the vibe that the world gives off. Because my understanding is that at the very least the combat is similar.
Now the combat is pretty solid. You have. That's another thing. You have two swords.
It's cool, Dame. We don't need to get into it now. We've been already talking for like an hour and a half. So unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this episode of Fork in the Ear. Yes, we did miss talking about Nintendo's press conference, in which they released more details than we could possibly imagine for their biggest reinvention of a Nintendo IP, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Open world, go anywhere, do anything, physics-based, crazy.
And cook.
And cook. Zelda and Final Fantasy 15, those Japanese and their cooking. I don't know what that's about, but there you go. I'd love to talk about it, but we're out of time. Dame needs to sleep. I need to go talk to this girl. Maybe we'll hit it up next show. But thank you for tuning in what the fuck is this show called? Dave.
Fork in Your Ear.
The Fork in Your Ear podcast. By the time this goes up, our Twitter will be available, our email will be available. Hopefully I will have the foresight to have put it in as a pre-recorded blurb, because I actually just opened up a notepad to see what the name of the things was so that I could say things. But all I had was the passwords. So that doesn't work. I'm not going to tell you people that. Like, that's dumb. But I hope you enjoyed this podcast of The Fork in Your Ear. And until next time, Damian, why don't you sign off?
Damian Newman, and I'm going to bed.
Sweet. I'm Tim K. Trotter, signing off. Until next time, kids, get forked.
Oh.
Thank you for listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
Dominic Armato, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast.
That is super odd. You started the call. You started the call.
I figured you probably want to restart anyway when Damian gets on, so I figured we could just start now, and then when he gets on, we'll restart.
Sure, bro. For sure, bro.
Faux show.
I've had a couple drinks. You've not experienced this since
in a very long time.
Like your fucking wedding or some shit.
Yeah, I think that probably was about the last time.
Your old wedding.
I was gonna say the first one.
Like the stanky one.
Hey, it was a good wedding. I mean,
no, it was alright.
Might not have turned out so good, but the wedding itself was pretty chill.
Boy.
Yep.
You have a wine in your background,
Unfortunately, that is going to not be able to go away because that's how I listen for Anthony if he's awake. So.
Oh, you baby monitor?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, I hope
yeah,
that
unfortunately,
non-drunk me listening to this, you bitch.
yeah, non-drunk you is gonna like cry a little bit inside, and I'm gonna be like, "Sorry, dude." it's there. You either get me or you don't get me. But it
Dude, I
comes
just
with this
watched the
sound.
episode of American Dad where like he goes on his 100th kill or whatever, and he develops like a conscience that wakes up when he's sleepwalking and like adopts children and like raises families or whatever, and he's like, "No, I will stop my sleepwalking self."
That's awesome.
Oh, no parallels whatsoever.
Oh God, it's gonna be a good
Oh,
podcast.
it's gonna be so fucking great. But no, seriously, conscious me slightly speaking through the slur is I hope that the noise floor cancellation thingamajiggy in the post will kill the whine, because it's actually not that bad. Like, it's really low, so hopefully, you know, because I cut everything off after certain decibels, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah. So like you can hear my voice, but everything below that just doesn't even come through.
Yeah. Well,
that's cool.
in post, at any rate.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
That
So
makes
before
things look
the
all, like,
listener
clean and
listens,
shit. I especially do it on the Skype call people because obviously I'm pretty okay where I'm at with the pro mic and a room and whatnot. Shit.
You've got like a sound dampening room and shit.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do, dude. Man, shit is going so good with Tatiana.
I'm really glad. Like I'm really. It sounds like you guys really have like enough in common too that you aren't like going to run out of shit to talk about before you actually meet. Which is like that was always one of the biggest problems. Like I'd get so like, this person's awesome, and talk to them a ton, and then we'd finally meet and it'd be like, well, now that we've talked about everything, what now?
Well, that's the thing though, is it's kind of like talking to like my bros or my sister, because like even if we talked about a lot of stuff, there'd still be stuff to talk about because like she's like fucking amazing. And like last night, and Tim, you should cut this out in case she listens to this. You hear me, fucker? Cover your ass, son.
That's funny.
Put down Metal Gear Solid 5 or whatever you're doing while editing this. Change it. Oh God!
Oh Lord!
Fantastic. I'm gonna have to turn my volume down so much. Is my gain up? I don't even know. There's all these knobs.
Oh Lord!
Oh man. Oh, but what was I saying? No, like we had like this amazing video chat last night, and it was so cool. And she was like real and everything, and like actually exists and actually looks like what she looks like, and all this sort of stuff, you know. And we've been talking on the phone for like a couple days now, right? And then like I get off the video call with her at like 2 a.m., right? And she starts just fucking sexting me, and I've seen everything at this point. And I'm just like, what the shit? And then she's like, you know, like, when our date goes well on Monday, I'm going to fuck your fucking brains out. And I'm just like, oh, shit, son! Like, what the fuck?
Oh, Timmy. Oh, it's
Don't ever
good.
fucking call me Timmy, even in this state. I know where you live.
That's okay. I'll call you Timmy.
Don't do it. You blasphemer.
You know, sober you would know this, but I don't know if drunk you would know this. But when you complain about something, especially something like being called a specific name or something, the more you complain, the more like 100% certain it becomes that I will definitely do that thing.
Yeah, but see, you know, you're just a dick sometimes.
Yeah, I mean that's a given.
I told you Ian's pissed at you, right?
Why is Ian mad at me?
I don't know, because I guess he picked you up from the airport or whatever, and I guess you were a douche to him the whole time.
What?
Yeah, that's what he said when I was in Cali, bro.
Then. I thought we had a really nice conversation and stuff, but whatever.
Oh, he felt you were like really hostile to him for some reason. which is kind of weird because I know you've
well,
probably spent more fucking time with him than I have.
Yeah, probably more because I just gotten done with 3 weeks straight of military training, which tends to set you on fairly on edge. So
yeah, well, and I had told him because I knew the timeline. I knew the time.
Didn't
I
say
knew that.
anything.
Shut the fuck up! I'm talking. I knew the timeline of like when you were down there, and it was like November or whatever when you're all stressed about making your shit, right? And I told him that, and he was like, "Yeah," but he was still super dicky to me, man. And like, I felt hurt, and I was like, "Oh, that sucks, dude."
Yeah, that's kind of whatever.
I'm
I wish
sorry
you would have said something.
I didn't tell you. Like, I mean, you know, if you still want to be cool with Ian, you might want to call him up.
Yeah, like I said, I had no idea, so it would have been nice to know this ahead of time because like he didn't say anything, which makes it a little hard to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I was like that, but okay.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, no, shit's just going so fucking well with Tatiana. Like, it's like mad crazy, like how fast shit's moving. Like we haven't even gotten to the fucking date, man. Like, it's insane.
Which is why I keep saying, hold off. Like, don't be too excited because you guys haven't even gotten to the actual date yet, which always worries me because that means that you haven't really like got to the point of actually talking in person yet, and you never know what could happen. So,
I mean, we've video chatted like several times at this point,
which that's definitely better than that. That definitely was like
day, basically. But like, honestly, no, I'm super worried about the fact that, you know, she wants to fuck my brains out, and I've never done that.
Oh, you'll be fine.
So, you know,
there's this amazing thing called instinct.
Yeah, no, I've heard about that, but no, like I literally, like no, like straight up. And Tim, you fucking cut this shit out because it's embarrassing, you son of a whore.
Yep. Please make sure you actually edit this out because this is probably not something you want to post on the internet for everyone to hear.
No, except it'll probably be really funny, so maybe you'll change your mind.
It would be really funny.
But I'm just saying, Tim,
wait for sober
wink,
to decide whether it's going to be funny or not.
Make the right decision. Listen to Adam. Adam is on point right now.
Usually am.
Well, debatable. No, I was like asking like a bunch of close friends. I was just like, all right, so this chick like legitimately wants to fuck my brains out. And she like is not even saying that like the date is gonna go bad because like everything she says to me is positive. Like there's no thing between us that is like negative except for a couple of observations on my end about like her. But even then, they're like so minor. It's like well, what? Fuck it.
Because I'm curious, because like sometimes minor things early turn into huge things later. So I'm just curious what stuff you see as potentially bad or potentially an issue or potentially whatever.
Like so you've seen pictures of her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So would you, I mean, it's fine if you don't, because obviously you're married, but whatever. You've been with like a zillion women, you Barney Stinson motherfucker. You know? Like, would you agree that like she's pretty fucking sexy, right?
Not my type.
Okay, fair enough.
She's not unattractive. She's just not my type at all.
Okay, fair enough.
If that was my type, yes. But
anyway, so like, she has like English vampire teeth, basically. Like her teeth are like, it's noticeable, like when she smiles, which is not a terrible thing. Like I don't give a shit, but it definitely draws my eye a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than that,
I guess I was more saying, is there any personality traits that you find off-putting or anything? Because those are the dangerous ones.
I don't have personality traits necessarily, but there's like a couple of things that she said that have made me go, so the two big ones is like she keeps mentioning but it's also weird because she mentions it in a joking fashion, and obviously, like lots of people mention things like this in a joking fashion. She keeps mentioning, like, oh, my like OCD for like cleaning my car or whatever, or like I really like sushi because like I have ADHD or whatever. And she's mentioned a couple ways, but it's always been in joking ways, and it's been in voice communication, so I could sort of like analyze it a little bit, like with her inflection. So it's sort of
Yeah.
like, well, either she does, or it's just typical, talk. You know what I mean?
Right.
The one thing that is for sure definitely a thing but it's also cool though because she's totally aware of it and she's like actively like working on it. And it was actually one of her wants that we video chat to uh, help get over some stuff. Like she has a problem with like looking people in the eye, basically. So obviously like confront, right? And like you know, like she's just like straight up said that like uh I guess like 3 boyfriends ago or whatever, she had like some super jealous boyfriend, and like I guess he was not particularly kind to her, and she feels like that's where it went out, you know?
Okay.
And she's been like working on it. And so one of her things in videoing, other than obviously like seeing each other and stuff and getting comfortable with each other in, although it's 2D space, at least you can sort of extrapolate like the 3D, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, she wanted to like get comfortable looking me in the eye because she wants to look me in the eye, which is like fucking great because she's just like super like, so like if I were to like throw like personalities of like other people I knew in a blender, she's like uh ultra sweet in a Mariah type way. She's got a little bit of sass in a Molly type way. Um she enjoys my humor in sort of like a Samantha Sargent sort of way. And she's strangely like a like large dose of sort of like the way that I talk, but mixed in with a Care Bear. Like literally like one of the things where I was sort of like realizing her personality when we first started talking on the phone was like she was like we were talking about like the brownie point system, and then she was like
Mm-hmm.
talking about the brownie point system because she's like a cook, chef, baker, sushi, ninja, cooking warrior woman, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like yeah, she knows totally more about sushi than you do, dude, which is crazy because
Wow.
I know you know a lot, but I mean she makes the shit, so Um, but like,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I would hope she would know more than me if she's making it.
but anyway, like one of the things that she said was like, she said, oh yeah, she's talking about the brownie point system, whereby you actually do things to like earn like 2-inch squares of brownie, but it's only valid if you turn 24 in because then that's a baker's sheet. So you get like a whole fucking brownie pan or whatever.
Okay.
And 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 then I was like, oh, that's like kind of adorable and stuff. And then she's like, yeah, well, I'm kind of a Care Bear, and like sharing is caring. And then I was like, oh, that's sweet. And then she's like, except for those motherfucking cunts who don't do sharing. Those people can die. And it's like, oh, okay. Like she's like super sweet and then she's not. Like it's fucking awesome. You know? Like, I don't know. Like I'm fucking head over heels for this fucking dude. This
Yeah.
this
Sounds
chick.
awesome.
I'm not this dude, this chick. That came out wrong.
Well, I should hope so. Yeah.
You know? And it's like she's like, she like she's had like a bunch of different jobs like before the sushi thing. Like she was talking about how like she took like all of these odd jobs because she was trying to support her dream of like being a pastry chef. And so she
Okay.
would like do pastry stuff on the side and had like I guess like a little business or something. And she did like 3 jobs simultaneously. She was like I guess an electrician and a sheet metal cutter woman and like a cashier at nights at like a grocery place or whatever. And she did that to like try to support her art, which is like super like mad respect, right?
Yeah.
And and then she said like she ended up getting laid off from a couple of those jobs, and then she took this job in Tacoma at some sushi place, which I don't know the name of yet, by the way. And then like she started getting into that, and she's got like all this background in cooking and baking and stuff, and she's like this is the greatest thing ever. Like
Yeah, that's awesome.
I want to become a master sushi chef, and open my own sushi restaurant one day, because that's
Cool.
like the greatest thing, and I'm like, I fully support your decision to do this.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And
solid choice.
But like, here's the catch, right? So check this out. Even though she's like mad into making sushi and constantly talks about how happy she is when she's like making sushi rolls and stuff, like she doesn't actually like sushi, like to eat it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for
like
real.
She doesn't enjoy
like,
it as a food. She just likes it as like an art.
She likes it as an art, and to like shop it to people so that she knows how to correct her craft, because she, enjoys cooking.
Yeah.
And so the way she prefaced it to me was like, she's like, I don't hate fish or anything. Like, I would just rather have my fish cooked. Like, I don't like the uncooked fish part. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I can respect that. That's fine.
Sure.
And she was like, liking it to, like her favorite food is well done steak. And even though, she thinks she can cook a mean steak, she doesn't want to cook steak for herself because that's her favorite food. And she's like, well, if I were, a master steak chef or whatever, like I wouldn't want to eat steak anymore because I'm cooking it all the time.
Right. Okay,
and then
I
was like, okay, yeah, I can, fair enough.
Sure.
Groovy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would want to not like eat. It's like I wouldn't want to like have sushi, but like not like make sushi but not eat it. But that's that's what I would do. But that's fine. And all right, sure, why not?
Yeah, but like this chick, right? Like, so like all of that, and then she's like like she's, I don't know, I guess I would probably say like she's probably like in the classification of gamer like yourself, I guess.
Okay.
Because like, you're obviously like into games and like respect games and stuff, and you like what you like, but you don't necessarily know like, oh, developer blah 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 with like studio head this and this changed this and like this fucking console thing.
Yeah,
but
nor do I particularly spend any time or energy like caring about that at all. Like,
exactly,
it's of only minor interest as like a side thing rather than like a thing in and of itself.
Exactly, because like she is definitely like a gamer. Like, she was going through her game library, and like I couldn't believe the shit that was in her library. A lot of it was stuff that like I've definitely played in, like like fucking like Dead Space games, like the Halos, Call of Duties, Destinies, and then the other stuff that I haven't played, like she's super into Dark Souls. And she was talking about how like she has to take breaks every now and again from Dark Souls 3 to like calm herself down because of how shitty she gets beaten. But then her break from it is like Fallout 4 and Witcher 3. And it's like, nice. Oh my God, this girl. That's awesome. This fucking girl, right? And so it's like, even though she doesn't know like the developer stuff and, like this super detailed stuff, like, like I know, or if Damian would ever fucking get off his fucking phone with his manager, stuff like, me and Dame would know and stuff like that. But even still though, like I can like talk to her about that stuff, and it's like, I've never had that with anybody where it's like, oh, like this chick is into me, but it's okay to talk to her about video games. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And also, sexy in its own way, right?
Mhm.
But it's like, it's like more than that too, because it's like, like we talk about stuff and like the way that we were raised and stuff. And, and like I've never hunted, but like she's hunted, and like I would say stuff about like guns, and she knew more about it than I did. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
And it's like, oh my God, like, and I said to her, I think maybe like the second day, like, cause it went super crazy. Like, I don't really like remember like your fucking story or whatever with Megan or whatever, but like, um, like I met her on Plenty of Fish, right? And
Mhm.
I had drank too much Saturday, and I actually like passed out in the guest bedroom because I had drank a lot. um, and uh mostly because I was sort of like feeling sorry for myself, because I had like a bucket of women that week on like Tinder and like Plenty of Fish and OK Cupid. Like there was like fucking 10 gals chat me, and I was like, holy shit, this must be what Adam feels like. Um and then like uh and then this like model chick like hit me up. And then I was like, oh, damn, model chick, or whatever. But then that like fizzled out or whatever, because she decided to pursue someone else or whatever. And so that weekend I was just like, oh man, I like lost all of my bucket of women somehow. Fuck. And I like drank a lot and then like passed out in like a guest bedroom. And then like my face was literally like on my phone, like just fucking like under my fucking face. And it starts buzzing, right? And I'm like, oh God, who the fuck, what the hell is this shit? I'm fucking hungover. What is this shit or
Yeah.
whatever? And then like the Plenty of Fish app was just like, blah, 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 username has favorited you. And then I was like, oh, people don't fucking favorite me on Plenty of Fish or whatever. And like BT dubs, I changed like every single dating profile I had. Like I've got like fucking like 8 dating apps or some shit like that. And I changed it
Nice.
to a bunch of pictures I took of me touring around California from that stupid fucking trip. And I wrote this simple thing of like, yo, my real name is blah. And I'm at www.dynamicworksproductions.com, an author, podcast, gamer with a full-time job to support that. Hit me up if you're interested. Like literally, like so basic, and it's ridiculously effective. Like I was like, oh man, I totally did the wrong thing when I decided to like put my life story on this shit, you know?
Yeah.
Which, as I recall, you might have warned me against ages ago when you forced me to make an OK Cupid. I don't remember.
Probably did.
Yeah, I don't know. Who gives a shit? Anyway, like I like woke up and like it was like blah favorited you, and then I was like, okay, well, it's probably some shitty chick or whatever. And I opened it up and I was like, oh, she's really attractive to me. And then I like read her little profile, which was like super duper basic as well. And it was just like, I'm this height, and like I have a real passion for cooking. If you want to find out more, go ahead and ask me. I'd be more than willing to tell you. And I'm really into hiking and video games. So hit me up. And I was just like, I like hiking. I like video games. I like food. And so, oh no, it was hiking, video games, and Batman, because on her profile is the Batman tattoo that she has, right?
Yeah.
I told you about that, right? Or I showed you a picture.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, she's got this. She's got the Batman tattoo from, the Dark Knight, where it's like the flaming Batman logo, or whatever.
Okay.
Or like at least she says like it's supposed to be the flaming Batman logo, at least in the pictures, and in video it sort of looks like the ice one, but maybe it's not. I don't know. Either way, it's definitely the Christopher Nolan one, right?
Okay.
And so like I sent her a text, obviously on the app, and like I was just like, hey, so Batman and video games, huh? That's pretty cool. Super simple, right? And then like she like responded like almost instantly. And then from there on, for the next 4 hours, it was just instant, like back and forth, just like, hey this, hey that, oh that's really awesome, hey this, oh that's cool, oh what do you do, oh sushi shift, that's fucking baller. She's like, oh cool, you think so? And it was just like back and forth, and it was just like instant, right? And I was like, oh that's pretty cool. And I did something I never do, right? Because obviously I'm Tim and I fucking suck dick with women. I have the worst fucking luck, and and so then around 4 p.m. on Sunday, literally 4 hours after, like, she'd favorited me, and I hit her up, and we just started this conversation, and it just felt so good and like natural and just like normal and pretty like cool and flowy. And I was just like, I'm gonna fucking ask this chick out, And then the other part of me was like, dude, you don't ask people out. Fuck off. And then I was like, fuck you, dude. This chick seems fucking legit, I'm fucking gonna ask her out. This is, of course, a conversation with myself, right? And like, and so then I'm like, hey, do you want to like maybe walk in a park and grab some coffee sometime, And she hits me up and she's just like, yeah, I genuinely love to do that, like smiley face. And I'm like, oh, sweet, And then like, cause like I've always done the dating app stuff like a decent amount, and I've like gone on dates and stuff, but they've all been super shitty, So the next natural progression of dating app is sort of like dating app talking and that sort of stuff like within the app, and then usually you move to an instant messenger, and then if it like gets a little better than that, then you go phone, right?
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know how you do it. People probably just said they wanted to fuck you, and you're just like, okay, I don't even know.
Somewhat.
I'm just imagining you in that fucking fuzzy white vest. Do you even still have that thing?
I don't think so. I don't remember where it came, like where it went. Probably years ago, I lost it.
Who knows? Anyways, and so then I was just like, hey, do you want to move to an instant messenger so we can like stay in communication a little better? And she was just like, yeah, sure. And then she just shoots me her number. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, there you go.
And then from there, it was just like real casual texting, like over, the 4th of July and like the day after and stuff, and just sort of like casually getting to know each other. And then I think it was Tuesday night. We'd been texting a bunch Tuesday, and then she was just like, hey, would it be cool if like I called you? And then I was like, that sounds pretty awesome, And then we had like a phone call, and it was pretty cool, and it went very smooth. And then like the next day we had like a phone call, like after she was like off work and stuff for like so many hours into the morning. And then the last couple days we've done video chatting, and like it's just gone so fast, and like it's just so great. Like there's basically, I feel like as long as I don't fuck it up or it's just a complete kill for her, that I'm a virgin.
I doubt that would be a big deal.
I feel like there's a fucking 75% chance with a 25% chance of failure that we don't actually click in person. That not only like, because we're having a date day on Monday, like it's not like, oh, we're gonna go do this and then that's it. Like we're doing a day. Like I don't even know what that means, but that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go out like early in the day, and I'm gonna meet her at Point Defiance Park, and then we're gonna go down to the boardwalk, and we're just gonna go from there. And then she's like already said, in the affirmative, that it's like, hey, like if it goes well, like you're getting fucked. It's just like,
well, there you go.
What the shit is happening? I don't even know. I don't have words or whatever. And so like, obviously that news was pretty fresh to me, like at 6 a.m. this morning or whatever.
Pretty fresh. You mean like new,
right?
Or you mean like fresh as in the slang term of like awesome?
All of the above, bro. All of the above. And then like
totally dope, wicked, killer.
Yeah, right. And then like and so then I texted Ian, and I texted Jay, and I texted Heather because I figured she'd have good advice, right? And I texted Molly, and I texted Mariah, like all of the same thing, that basically like, hey, I've seen every part of her. She has said that the date will go well on Monday and that she's gonna fuck my brains out. I don't think she knows I'm a virgin. I don't know jack fucking shit. Here, somebody help me.
That's a fun conversation.
Oh gosh, but thank God for my peeps, right? They were just like, and it was so funny because like everybody had something different to say. Like it was pretty great.
Oh yeah.
And so like I just got to tell you this story, man, because it's so funny. And I don't know, I guess Dame's not showing up. Gay, he was so excited to do it. Hopefully his manager's
I don't know what's up
chewing
with
his
that.
ear off. This happens to him sometimes, like because he works crazy hours because he's a lyricist for some music company in DC, and like he loves his job, but it's like super time consuming or whatever. Like it's crazy to me the amount of video games that he plays and the amount of streaming that he does. He basically
with the amount of time he actually
basically
has.
does not sleep.
Wow.
Like he's like, yeah, no, if I get 3 hours, I'm good for the day. And I'm just like, Jesus shit, Dave.
Yeah, it's kind of like
not
me.
healthy.
Sometimes I get like a very low amount of sleep.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so I got to tell you this story because I texted it to most other people, but I'm talking to you live, so you get to hear the raw deal version of it or whatever. And swear to God, Tim, even if you kept all the shit up to this point, you cut this shit out because it's the most embarrassed you have ever felt in your whole fucking life so far. Seriously, Tim, pause, take a minute, look at the waveforms. Cut.
Which is probably the worst possible thing
it's
possibly
so bad.
could have done.
Oh God, it's so bad. And so like all of this happens and Ian's holding his face and I'm like looking at Ian in shock, right? And I hear a woman's voice from his end just start fucking laughing.
Oh, you're like, wait.
And I'm like, oh shit. Has Sierra been in the room this whole time? Like fact checking your shit? And she just heard this whole interchange. And then he's just like, maybe? I'm just like, oh my God. I just got the most awkwarded with my friend and my friend's girlfriend, like cross states. Shit.
That's so fantastic.
Oh God, but it's so me, right? Like it's just classic Tim.
That is.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
And so then so then Ian's like, is she gone? I was like, yeah, she's gone. And he's like, so where was I? And so like he continues, and he tells me all this stuff, and like I have some stuff to practice between now and Monday and whatnot. And like so later I like take my okay.
Oh.
So yeah, that's been what's happening, Adam. How have you been?
That's quite the story. I don't really know how to follow that up.
Yeah, you can't, man. Like, what do you do after that shit?
Yeah, but shit, I
guess you get drunk and you talk to Adam. That's what you do.
Apparently, that's what you do. Yeah. Well, goddamn. I am somewhat sorry to hear some of the bad parts of that story, but otherwise, good shit.
Yeah. Otherwise, stuff with Tatiana's great. Yeah. I don't think a real podcast is actually happening tonight.
Yeah, it sounds like it might not, but I mean,
because Dame's not here, and unless he shows up and we do it like 20 minutes, because Tatiana gets off at 10:30. I'm fucking out.
That's
at
what
10:30.
she said. Wait.
God, you're
Wait, no.
so married now. You disgust me.
Legitimately
You
what she
fag.
said.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, it's so crazy. But yeah. No. I'm like, yeah, no. I don't know, man. Like I realize like I do not get women ever, but it's like I feel like I already have her, I guess, because like like we talked last night, and there was a point where I was like, so like, what was going through your head like Sunday or whatever, and like I had sort of like days before over the phone sort of been like, oh, like I feel like I did a checkbox list of like what I want in a woman, and then hit 3D print, and out popped Tatiana, and like there she is, and like she was saying, um, she's like, well, even by Sunday, like I already thought you were too good to be true, and it's sort of like we literally haven't said anything like ultra negative about each other at all.
That's good.
Like I don't it blows my mind. You know what I mean? Holy shit, Dame showed up.
Okay.
What?
Oh
I've
my
arrived.
god, you missed so much shit.
Yeah, you missed
I've
the
been
good
drinking a
shit,
lot.
that's for sure.
I know I had to take care of some business, but I'm here. I've arrived.
Is everything good, man?
Yeah,
With the stuff?
yeah, it's all good.
How come you get off work and like it always seems like your business managers are like always calling? Like what's that about, bro?
When you do music, you never off work, ever.
I can
Yeah.
I can sort of feel you on that. You know. I got you. Anyway, we got like 30 minutes, maybe 40 to do this. Cuz this chick that I'm fucking crazy about gets off work in like 30 minutes, and then I'm fucking video chatting with her. So you ready to do
Like
this?
we got a lightning round.
Yeah, we got a lightning round this shit. Like I'm so fucking hyper. I'm so on point. Adam's here. I have had booze. Like oh, let's do this shit. You ready, sons? No mic tests.
Yeah,
Let's
ready.
go. All right, here we go. Sorry, Adam actually started that call, so when he ended it, he killed it all.
We just hung up.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, let's close this out so I can talk, so I can go video chat with this hot chick of mine.
Yeah, because I got to get up in like 5 hours.
Oh fuck. Since we just started a new recording, which means I'll edit this when I'm sober. What's like the top couple of things you want to hit on the Sony press conference, and we'll close it out.
The orchestra, which we've already done.
Okay, I feel like I hit that with some certainty, since I love Bear McCree.
You said, VR.
Oh God, yes, we should hit VR for sure. Anything else? Maybe VR and like one game. What one other game should we hit?
One other game that we should hit that in the Sony press conference.
Do you want to do that new one that, or do you want to? Oh, or maybe we should do the Norman Reedus, Hideo Kojima one. You want to hit that one?
That wouldn't be bad. I you know what? Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go. All right, we're gonna hit him right now. All right, here we go. Cut in, Tim, when you're sober.